let me just say this. I did not want to go back to school full time. I didn't want to go back to graduate school, but the Lord led me back to school. And so here we are. After resigning from my job as a high school counselor for the last almost 7, 8 months, I have been trusting God to not only be my father, but to also to get to know him, to be Jehovah Jireh, the Lord God, my provider. Hey y'all, it's Ramisha Nicole, and many of you may know me, or if you don't know, I'm the host of the Ramisha Nicole Show podcast, where I help emerging prophets to heal their inner child through the power of forgiveness. But let me be honest, I'm on my own personal journey of truly getting to know the Lord and trusting Him to not only be God of the universe, but I'm learning to get to know Him as not only my Lord and Savior, but my Father. I'm getting to know him in this season of being Jehovah Jireh, the Lord my provider, and resting in the position and the title of just simply being his daughter. And back in the 2024-25 school year, I'm a former high school counselor, and it was in April of 2025 when the Lord led me away on an actual time of rest. After having two anxiety attacks at work, He had me to take a leave of absence, i.e., a sabbatical, so that I could rest. And it was during that time where He really began to talk to me, and He really began to just share with me what it was that He wanted me to do. Now, I'm thinking I'm just taking time off, right? Because, of course, I needed that time. I was stressed, I was burned out, but I did not know that during that time, that He would tell me to resign from and leave my job. Because here is the thing, I left my job before, but it ended up leading to me having to go through Dave Ramsey's financial piece, living at home, and in another season, losing my car, almost losing my apartment, going through evictions. And so I was just toiling with a bunch of emotions and a bunch of feelings like, Lord, here we are. Because last time I thought I heard you, and I believe that I did, but I don't want to go back through that, and I don't want to deal with that again. And sometimes we have to really make those emotions to really bow down, because if you find yourself saying I don't, or I do, and I, then that's become your God. And so what I want to do is I just want to share with you guys a little bit of the backstory as to why this channel was started and why I'm going to be sharing these testimonies every week. And so here is just a recording. I'm going to insert it in after this, and I'm just going to share with y'all how one day I just really sat in my car, and I knew He was calling me to start another YouTube, but I thought the whole focus was really the Ramisha Nicole Show. But I believe that this is part of it as well, because it's not so much about me just being the host. I believe that it's just about just connecting with other God's daughters, right? Like God's other daughters, so that way they can know that they are not alone. And so I'm going to insert just this video of just me just sitting in my car one day, y'all, and me just really just sharing my heart and my vulnerability, and just really talking to the Father and sharing with y'all what I said to Him that day. Because honestly, y'all, at the end of it, I didn't want to look like a fool. And it might have come with, people have said things, and people are going to say things because even they talked about Jesus. But I just believe that this is where I'm supposed to be. I know it is where I'm supposed to be, because He continues to give confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. And so here we are. And so here is just that little clip about, me being on this journey, and me trusting Him, and me talking to Him about all my thoughts, all my emotions, and all my feelings, and being vulnerable, and Him appreciating the vulnerability, and how we got to this point, and how and why I am telling you guys that He provides. Okay. So during prayer time, I was sitting at the car dealership because I had to go and get an oil change for my car today. And I've been reading the book of Exodus for about the last 13 days. I think I started at Exodus 14, which is when we know that God raised His hand against Pharaoh, and He was like, the Egyptians you see today, you'll never see anymore. But I've never read through after, from the beginning with the plagues. I've read all of that, but I've never read through the book of Exodus the way that the Lord is having me to read through Exodus now. And so today is August 27th, and I was reading Exodus 27. And child, let me turn this car off. I don't know why I turned this car off with the air off, and it's hot outside. And then there was a part, and I'm about to grab my Bible, because I took my Bible with me to the dealership so I could sit, because I didn't have quiet time this morning, because the Lord had me up and was talking to me, and I was like, look here, sir, I want to go take a nap. Because I start school next week, and the Lord is leading me back to school, and that's something else. Like, it's just so much. But I only got through the first part, which was the altar of the burnt offering, and he highlighted a bronze network, and he says, make the altar hollow. And so I looked up the Greek definition of the word hollow, because it said, verse 8 of 27, make the altar hollow. And so I looked and I defined what the word hollow, and it was basically keeping a space, in order for the tabernacle to be built, in order for space to be made. And he said, make room. He said, leave space for me to move. And I said, moving what? And he was like, in your housing and covering, because I've resigned from my job and I've been trusting God for provision. And I'm like, Jesus, here we go again, because this is the third time we've done this. And last time I did it, I thought I heard you. I was off the time before. Like, I got off track and I thought I was going on this forward. Like, I literally don't want to go through that again. Like, I just don't want to look dumb at the end of the day. And so I was vulnerable with the Lord, and I was like, listen, I know I hear you. I said, but I'm just concerned, honestly, that this isn't going to work, or like people aren't going to support me. And you're telling me to put myself out there on, what's the thing? GoFundMe. And I reached out to people, and I'm reaching out to sponsors, and I'm reaching out to donors, and nothing is happening. Like, no one is biting. And I'm like, I'm doing what you're telling me to do. I'm trying. I'm applying for scholarships, and I did. I got a scholarship, a merit scholarship, because I already have a master's degree. So because of my grades, I've already gotten that. And then I got a location one based off of where I am. And I was just like, Lord, like, help me. Help me. And he was like, thank you for your vulnerability and your honesty. And I was like, I know, like the woman with the issue of blood. Like, I know, just like that woman, like she couldn't get healed until she came before you and told you the whole truth. And so I don't know, like, I feel like I'm supposed to start another YouTube channel and just document like my life outside of the podcast, outside of the Ramisha Nicole Show, because my focus has really been on that too. And even that's on hold, because God has me working on a devotional that he has me writing. And I just really want to just document being God's daughter, and even just letting him walk me through. And this is what he said. Before I go back to that, this is what he said. He said, I'm strengthening your belief in your faith. Because God made me a promise a year ago that I was going to podcast movement. And even when it got close to the podcast movement, which is a large conference for podcasters in Dallas of this year, like, he gave me the word prophetically a year ago. And it's even with this schooling and everything being paid in full. And I know that he's done it before, and I know he'll do it again. But in my heart, it's just like, I'm trying and nothing is biting. And what's coming to me is Luke 5. Remember how Simon Peter was like, but master, we've toiled all night and we've fished and we've tried and nothing has bitten, and then they end up getting an overflow in the miracle. And so God was like, let me just make room for me, leave space for me to move. So I just wanted to just share this. I wanted to document this. I feel like I'm supposed to start another YouTube channel. That's what I was saying, so that I can document just my life of being God's daughter and just walking through things. Like, I know the Ramisha Nicole Show is all about helping emerging prophets heal their inner child, but these are real things that I'm still dealing with too. Like, I know I'm going to share it on the show. I know I'm going to interview people, and they're going to talk about their journey and walk through forgiveness and all the things. But this journey of leaving my job again, going to graduate school to get a third degree, yeah, and I know that it's probably going to bless somebody, but I don't know. I don't want to start another channel. It's a lot of and I need to fast and pray too, because sometimes when you find yourself saying, you are the God. But I just really had to get vulnerable and honest with the Lord today. And I was like, Abba, I'm putting it out there and nobody's biting. I'm trying. I'm applying for scholarships. I'm looking up scholarships. I'm doing the things. I'm about to write the devotional. I'm getting the other systems in place, getting my speaker stuff in place so that everything can come together. So that's just my journey today of being God's daughter, and just being honest with my dad about the things that I'm feeling and the things I'm experiencing. And just out of his love and grace, he was like, thank you for your honesty and your vulnerability. I think that sometimes we be afraid to go and take stuff to God, so we run. I was even listening to a sermon this morning on the way to the dealership to get my oil change, and the guy was reading through the Lord's Prayer, and he talks about forgiveness in another part. But at the bottom, when he was getting to the bottom of it, and he was just like telling the story of this man who experienced all this warfare unnecessarily because what he failed to do, he was trying to do everything in his human nature, is he failed to go and see God. And I asked God all the questions. Now, sometimes it'll be my flesh will rise up, or God will let me go to a thing and experience it and be like, but I didn't want you to try that. So this is just my document of today of being God's daughter, and just walking through these emotions and these feelings and trusting him and knowing. And even the scripture for this morning is Deuteronomy 31:8. And I love the Amplified Classic version because it just really breaks down. He was basically saying, like, don't get dismayed, don't be depressed, don't let none of that stuff in your heart, because God won't fail you. And I know what it's like to experience failure and depending on somebody and thinking that somebody's going to come through for you. And I know a lot of that stems from childhood for me too, because the Lord has already revealed to me that the issues, the lack of trust rather, that I have with them does stem from just things that I've experienced with my parents. So I just wanted to say that I know he's going to come through, and when he does, we'll testify. But this is just today's journey. These are the thoughts and the emotions and the feelings that I felt. And I just want to encourage you that try again, keep trusting him, and seek him with the whole plan. So I pray that blessed you. So that's just the backstory, y'all. This is how I got here. The Lord told me to leave my job. Now, the Lord said this time for real, because he even walked it out, y'all. Even to the point to at graduation, when my seniors were graduating last school year for the 24-25 school year, at the day of the commencement ceremony, the valedictorian talked about the parting of Exodus, right? The parting of the Red Sea. And it was on that same day that I actually got my acceptance letter to graduate school, when the program typically takes a turnaround time is 2 to 3 weeks, up to 6 weeks. The Lord literally worked that out after me turning in all of my documents in a matter of almost a week. So I knew that that was confirmation. I knew that was him, but yet and still, the instructions I got were to attend graduate school and to work on my brand, my business, and the Ramisha Nicole Show, which will be relaunching in August of 2026, where he has me working on some things in the back end. But just as a part of this, he's having me to share my testimony of how he's been providing for me in various ways. I mean, I'm talking about one day only having $20 in my pocket, like literally a $20 bill, him telling me to get $7 worth of gas, me going, and I'll be sharing that story too, me going to one of my favorite restaurants, running into a big sis in the faith, and her sewing $500 to me, going from $7 to $500 in one day, or to staying in a hotel and having bed bugs and getting the entire stay compensated, only for that entire situation to turn into Hilton Garden Inn in Baytown, Texas, sponsoring and donating a stay to Outback Steakhouse, donating food gift cards so that I could raffle those things out, just so that way I could be provided for. And so the provision really, y'all, has come in the obedience. In addition to that, I'm also going to be sharing with you guys some kingdom principles that I believe that many of us miss when it comes to God actually providing, i.e., the very first lesson that I'm going to be sharing, because y'all know I'm a teacher at heart, is about the principle of the tithe. So if you know a sister who is God's daughter, who is on this journey of really trusting and believing the Father to be her father, to be her provider, then share this YouTube channel with her. Be sure to like and subscribe, as well as turn on the notification bell, so that way you know when I share a testimony every Tuesday. I love you, sis, and just know that we are God's daughters and that we are always provided for. I pray that my testimony today shared you. That's the backstory. And so I look forward to sharing with you guys the very first testimony of how forgiveness towards my mother unlocked me actually getting a new car. See you guys on the first testimony.